Where have you been, guys? Reaction is one in which a single phase decomposes during cooling to two new phases, differing in structure and composition. So I am reading things which you already know. Just pay your attention, do not need to write down. So eutectoid transformation is that one single phase transforming to two new phases, differing in structure and composition from each other and the parent phase. The product of such a transformation is often in the form of alternate lamellae of the two constituent phases. Pearlite in steel, an aggregate of ferrite and cementite, is the best known and technologically the most important example. A similar two-phase lamellar aggregate is produced by some precipitation reactions in non-ferrous systems. In these, only one of the product phase is new, the other being structurally the same as the parent phase. So it is kind of alpha to alpha plus beta. It shows lamellae of alpha plus alpha and beta, but one of the two phases alpha beta aggregate, one of the two phases in the lamellae has same crystal structure as that of the parent phase, but different orientation. So it's a new nucleation and new nucleation of. So this structure. These reactions are now referred to as cellular reactions. Although the term recrystallization reaction is sometimes used to emphasize the recrystallization of the parent phase must be involved to produce the new orientation, because the orientation in the lamellae of alpha is different from the parent alpha phase. So it's similar, it's also an eutectoid reaction, but one of the phases of the product mixture is as same crystal structure as the parent phase. That is the cellular. So but both growth of both are similar. Okay, it's the lamellar growth. So across this incoherent interface, behind the incoherent interface, this lamellar. Say this is ferrite, this is cementite, this is ferrite. This grows. This interface grows. How? By diffusion of carbon from in front of that to in front of cementite. Okay. So you can think of in the phase diagram. This is your, say at a particular temperature you are here, you are measuring the growth. Then at that temperature, below the eutectoid temperature, you are measuring the growth. That means so if you extrapolate that line of in the phase diagram, so this is that concentration so in front of ferrite, concentration in gamma, in front of ferrite. In front of cementite. So this in front of cementite I am writing here. So carbon diffusion happens from this high to this low. So from in front of ferrite to in front of cementite. Lamellar, interlamellar distance is measured from center of say cementite to center of the next cementite, or center of ferrite to center of next ferrite. So that is your interlamellar distance D. Okay. Gets to a constant interlamellar spacing that is function of the temperature and the supersaturation, transformation temperature. So your interlamellar spacing is actually found to be 1 over Te minus T. Te is your this temperature, eutectoid temperature. So what is K from? This is T. So interlamellar spacing is found to be inversely proportional to undercooling. This is your one equation. So growth rate is function of temperature when this eutectoid mixture forms at a temperature below the eutectoid temperature, that means your delta G is negative. There is a free energy of transformation. Part of this actually creates the interface between ferrite cementite. These interfaces are being created when they are forming. So, and what is that per unit volume? So, if your say per unit volume, if in the d distance, how many interfaces are there? In the d distance, there are two interfaces. From center of one cementite to center of another cementite. So, you consider unit area along this. Okay. So, unit volume will contain 2 over d multiplied by unit area. So, that much interface, that. So it will be 2 over d multiplied by gamma. That is the interfacial energy that is being created, the surface energy per unit volume. You consider unit area perpendicular to the board, unit distance along that interface. So that will make unit volume. Not unit distance, this, and unit area of along this. So it will make a unit volume. So in that unit volume, how much interfacial area is there? Will be 2 over d. If your interlamellar spacing is d, then that this is the this is the 2 over d area. Interfacial area is there per unit volume multiplied by gamma is the interfacial energy that is needed to create the interfaces per unit volume. If without any interface, that just available gives free energy change because of T is lower than Te is delta G naught, then out of that this much has been used to create the interface. This delta G naught is the per unit volume of the eutectoid mixture. Delta G naught is the Gibbs free energy change per unit volume of the eutectoid mixture. So that is the volumetric Gibbs free energy change to create the alpha plus gamma alpha plus cementite mixture from gamma. Out of that, this much has been per unit volume, this much has been used to create the interface. So remaining delta G naught minus this is the available driving force for this growth to happen. So available driving force for the growth to happen is given by. So can you please repeat what is delta Ds? What do you understand? You tell me, then I will repeat. Per unit volume. Delta G per unit volume. Okay. Delta G in what is this? Surface energy. Who said? You say what you understood. You say. What you know understood? What is gamma? Interfacial energy. Interfacial energy, if it is multiplied, and what is the unit of this? So this is some energy per unit volume, and this is interfacial energy, is energy per unit area. So to make it per unit total right hand side equal to this left side, this interfacial energy per unit area must be multiplied by area per unit volume. So I am multiplying it by area. So this is the interfacial energy between cementite and ferrite. So how much area of cementite and ferrite, interfacial area of cementite and ferrite is there per unit volume? If you are given the interlamellar spacing to be D, what will be the interfacial area per unit volume? Please do it yourself. Area per unit volume.
Area of this by area interface.
2 into area of
Interface area. Interface area into D. When the interface volume will be area into D.
2 into area, interfacial area.
That is the area. By area into D.
By area into D or huh? So 2 by D is, this is your interfacial area per unit volume. 2 by D. So this is your interfacial area per unit volume. This is your interfacial energy per unit area. So this is interfacial energy per unit volume. So per unit volume, that interfacial energy is, so out of this available delta G naught is also per unit volume of the perlite. Out of that, this much is used to create the interface. So remaining amount delta G, this is the driving force for your growth to happen. This interface, this will grow. There will be a driving force. That is the available driving force is this one. That is possible. So what is this BM? This D, interlaminar spacing. How much you can decrease? What is the minimum value? How do you find it?
Delta G is 0.
When there is this growth cannot happen. When delta G equal to 0. Two gamma by delta G naught. So 2 gamma is you can just this expression you put it here in this expression. So you will get delta G equal to delta G naught multiplied by 1 minus dm d minimum by d. Now your growth rate is determined only by the rate at which diffusion accomplishes the necessary redistribution of carbon. So that means growth rate is proportional to how carbon diffuses from here to here. So it should be proportional to that diffusivity. It should be proportional to that diffusivity, and it should be, now this diffusion distance is given by d, so it should be inversely proportional to 1 by d, because ultimately the growth of this interface is controlled by this diffusion. And it should be also proportional to the available driving force. So your R dot is some constant multiplied by delta G d over d. And you can write this K d over d and this delta G naught 1 minus d minimum over d